feud of the year for 2016, there has to be Sasha Banks versus Charlotte Flair for me. And it seems like there's something about Sasha Banks that brings out the best in her opponents. Okay, for the second straight year, she's, to me, feud of the year. This time against, Charlotte Flair. The women's revolution, quote unquote, in WWE really got into gear in 2016. Starting at WrestleMania when the Divas title was retired and the women's championship took its place. Flair won the WrestleMania match between her, Banks, and Becky Lynch to stake claim as the women's champ. After the brand extension drafts, Charlotte and Sasha were both brought to the Raw brand, and the first Raw after the draft saw the two of them square off in a match of the year candidate that Banks won claim to for her first women's title. Charlotte would beat Sasha in the SummerSlam rematch, but the two weren't done, trading the gold. There would be more to come. Sasha would win a rematch in the Raw main event a few weeks later, only to lose the belt back during the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match. In another Raw rematch, Charlotte lost the gold back to Sasha during the first ever women's Falls Count Anywhere match, only to reclaim in what was billed as their final showdown at the Roadblock Special in an Iron Woman match. For constantly raising the bar for women's wrestling, Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks, to me, was the feud of the year in 2016. And Samoa Joe versus Nakamura was a big runner-up to me. The woman of the year, Charlotte Flair. Genetically superior, the queen of Raw's women's division and a four-time women's champion. Charlotte began the year as the Divas champion and will go down in history as the last woman to hold that title, as it was retired at WrestleMania. She will be crowned the first ever women's champion by winning a triple threat match against Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, with whom she would spend the last half of the year trading the title. But in the end, the Queen stood tall as champion, and the woman of the year for me. Match of the year, DIY versus the Revival, 2 out of 3 falls. In August at NXT TakeOver back to Brooklyn, DIY, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and the Revival, Scott Dawson, Dash, engaged in an epic tag team title match that saw Dawson and Wilder retain their gold. In the months after, the top guys avoided facing DIY to the point where they forfeited a match to them in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Finally, the rematch was set for NXT TakeOver, if you remember, Toronto, and it would be 2 out of 3 falls. The Revival won the first fall quickly with the trademark Shatter Machine, but after several more minutes, DIY tied it at 1 apiece with their vaunted double head strike. The final fall featured several near victories for both teams, including DIY using the Shatter Machine against the Revival. In the end, Gargano and Ciampa both locked in submissions on the champs, and even after locking hands so neither would submit, Dawson and Wilder eventually tapped out and new champions were crowned. An instant classic, and to me, that is the match of the year. Face of the year, Nakamura. What more can I say with Nakamura? When Nakamura made his debut at NXT TakeOver Dallas, the ovation was thunderous and even prompted a holy shit chant from the crowd, who seemed to be unable to believe he was actually there. And the ovations haven't stopped. The crowd now sings to Nakamura's music as he enters and leaves an arena. His popularity has transcended cultures. The heel of the year, Miz. The Miz has had a respectable career to me. At one point he was WWE Champion and did in fact main event WrestleMania in Atlanta. But for the most part, he's been taken as something of a joke. However, in 2016 he tweaked his character a bit. Added his wife to the mix and cut some of the best promos of his life and became one of SmackDown Live's most hated men. And in the process, he became, to me, the heel of the year. Miz's prime target for his heel hatred has been SmackDown Live general manager Daniel Bryan, who was forced to retire, obviously due to concussion. Miz has taken many an opportunity to call the former WWE champ a quitter while blasting him for criticizing his in-ring work. This is a case of what the brand extension had hoped it would do, elevating a performer toward the top of the card. Heel of the year. Wrestler of the year for me is AJ Styles. Styles not only arrived in WWE, he made an impact. Period. I hope all is well. I hope you enjoyed my picks. Until next time.